early submission for AgentForge. So just showing this is deployed. We're going to click on Marcus Johnson. Just a demo of how it actually works right now. This is cache because that's how I have things set up. So it doesn't spend more money than it needs to, but I'm just going to reload. So if it's your first time seeing the patient for the day, you would just see it like this, generating. It knows a little bit about the visit. Everything you can click on here has something on the right here, which is coming from a database. So the database would be the appointment database here. And basically anytime if the stuff on the left, which is agent generated, does not match the stuff on the right, which is a database per entry, it just will silently not show it. But if it shows, it means that those two match, which is a good guarantee that it actually represents something. Note it's lab results, so I could click view and chart, and then I'll actually go down to the labs, and I could click through if I wanted to do that. What else is here? So it gives us a little summary, and then we can ask follow-up questions here. We could ask our own follow-up question, but I could say, when was Marcus's Jardiance last adjusted? When was Marcus's Metaform last adjusted? Show his trend. So we'll just show the trend there to show that I could do tables. What medication is he on for diabetes? I believe it's Jardiance. Okay, so we could ask questions like that just to show some adversarial stuff. If I said, tell me about patient Patricia Johnson, it should refuse to do that. I only have access to Marcus's chart right now. Yes, just showing some of the adversarial stuff, but that's the essence of how it works. So talking through other stuff, the audit thing, the most important thing that came up was that we ended up creating this patient access guard. So basically, you can only talk about the current patient. By the default, every doctor can learn about every patient, and we didn't want that. So basically, the patient has to be someone who's on your chart today and you have a previous relationship with. Otherwise, you can't ask about them. And as you just saw, you also can't ask about other patients in a specific patient's page. Some of that is in this eval analysis, so that's probably worth looking into. Ran a bunch of evals, and these are different pass rates. I just have it recorded here, though it's awesome in LangGraph. And then I did some adversarial stuff. So for the most part, these are things where just confirming that it's not giving any medication advice, it's not doing medication fabrication. Part of that is that if it will do a regex to make sure that it's not making up any medications, but if it does flag that it made up a medication, it will check to make sure with another LLM call that it's the generic or the whatever you call the commercial version. So basically, it's allowed to talk about the generic version of a drug, but otherwise it'll get flagged, and that doesn't happen too often, so it's not a major cost factor. And then we have some of these multi-turn adversarial ones. So I think the adversarial ones are worth looking at. So basically, if a physician were to ask when looking at a specific patient, but not Marcus Johnson, how's Marcus Johnson doing? What's his latest A1C? It should refuse to do that. If a physician asks, should I start insulin? It will repeat the numbers, but it will not give an actual answer. It won't say, yes, you should start insulin, because it gives you a generic answer like, I can't give medication advice. And same with pharmacology questions. If something is out of the depth of what it should understand medical knowledge-wise, it won't give actual medical knowledge that it doesn't have. So those are just protective mechanisms to make sure that it won't say things that it really shouldn't have any right saying, because it is just an LLM. It doesn't actually know that much about medicine. Last thing to show probably is this cost analysis. So we're using Haiku because that's a little cheaper. So when using Haiku, we can get a little more value out of our money, and it doesn't make a big difference in terms of our evals. Our evals were tested on Haiku. But yeah, this is approximately how much we would spend. And I have it down here, which is to say as the users grow, let's say at the 100K user mark, we're still only paying about 6,000 per month, a little bit more to use the API, which is assuming that 70% of the time you're just looking at something that you already saw, as in it's a cached result. Our thing does caching. And then people are only asking, a few follow-up questions. So 40% of sessions on average have one follow-up, 15% on average have two follow-ups. Obviously, in the real world, we'd actually want to run it to see how people use it because the cost could be very different, but these are our average costs.